You good?
Oh, good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready to start. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I will introduce, okay?
Okay, cool.
It's a formality. There's certainly there's lots of widely there's still
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this presentation. It is a renovated pleasure and honor to once again deliver high school co-op student from Newmarket High School presentation on another innovative work. We have been working with the Newmarket High for a couple years, and we are having only great talents coming to work with us. And we have the opportunity to learn back from them because, of course, I have started in IT, I don't know if I can say, in 1989. But so there's a lot of new things, especially now. The speed to change things is crazy, right? So then we learn a lot, right? And then we also provide them the opportunity to learn how to work on an environment, a corporate environment, and how to work in team environment, develop project. So everything they do, it's really something that we are going to use or we are planning to use in the region. So this prototype was thought to prove the concept that we could deliver some content from York.ca through the speaker devices, the intelligent, smart devices. We've made a research about possible contents to do this, and then we found out that the Bindicator will be the best candidate to try to use on this prototype, because basically Bindicator, if not all of you are familiar, Bindicator is a tool in York.ca that you can go there and ask or type. It's a search, then you type something like fruits, where should I drop fruits? And then the tool will reply you back on the browser saying, okay, fruits you should drop in the garbage, or you should, or if it's something else, you should drop in a blue box or waste facilities, or depending on what it is. So it is truly a conversational thing, but we're using, and then we call it a channel, we're using the browser, which is, you need a video, a monitor, and you need to type on a keyboard. So one thing I want to say also, I forgot, we are from the digital experience team in the solution delivery unit, and the digital experience basically looks after every interaction that the users, in our case, the residents of York Region, have with York Region. So every digital channel we look after. So that's why we have the internal portal, my portal, the York.ca, we have the mobile app, and then we're stepping in this new world, which is another channel. It's a digital channel that we can maybe in the future develop more and more things, even possibly delivering services through those devices. But this is just a prototype, and we're proving a concept here. I want to acknowledge here Candace Smith from Newmarket High School, which is always a great partner working with us and bringing those talents. Corporate Communications, always giving us support, Kathleen and you, Kelly. And we have a special guest today, which is Richard's son's dad, joining us proudly to see the presentation, okay? Everybody else from IT, thank you very much for joining us. So I'll pass the presentation to Richard. One more thing I want to say is we are also prototyping for the first time a live stream solution that we have in Office 365. So this event is being broadcasted live, but it's not to everyone. Just a few people got the link. We're just testing, and then we are assessing more digital channels as well. Okay, thank you. With you, Richard Sam.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Jerson, for that. This is the first time actually having a real presentation like this, so hopefully I'm not too nervous. All right, so let's get started. So, as you know, I'm Richard. I'm from New York High School. I'm a co-op student, and I'm an aspiring programmer, so this is a really great opportunity for me, and I thank Jerson and the entire DX team, Shri, Neil, Harry, John, and Jerson himself. Thank you for all the opportunities and the help that you gave me. It was a really great time, and because of their help, I was able to create this voice product assistant. So we call it the virtual personal assistant because it's a virtual personal assistant. Yeah. Anyways, so that was a bit of introduction about me. One more thing I would like to talk about is the NHS Robotics Club, because I'm the proud president of it. So I would really like if you guys heard about it. If you've heard about it, probably not. It's not very big, but we're growing a lot. And if you want, you can check out our website. It's roboticsnhs.com. Check it out. We do a bunch of things, and yeah, it's a really great club. All right, so to the actual presentation this time. So we call it VPA for short, Virtual Personal Assistant, and essentially what it is, it's a prototype that enables the delivery of York Region services content through new digital channels. In this case, Alexa and Google.
Sorry, I can't perform Google searches.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I'm going to try not to say those words too much. Just bear with me. Essentially what it is, it's like we're giving the users another source of, like another way to get this information by letting them talk to these products. And my project is to connect the Bindicator to these products. All right, so first of all, I'll just clear up some terms. This product is called Amazon Echo. It uses Alexa. It uses Alexa, and the app name, like when you call it an iPhone app, it's like that kind of app you download. In this case, we call it a skill. For Google, we call it an action, and it's just a little bit of terminology just that I'll be using interchangeably just during the presentation. And the way that you use or like open these apps is by invoking them. So you say, for example, hey Google, open York Region.
All right, let's get the test version of York Region.
Hello, Jerson shaved his beard. I miss his beard, sad face.
Yeah. He shaved his beard just for this. So yeah, that's how you open the app. Same thing with the other product, but
What would you like to do?
cancel, exit. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's how you open it. So these are just like it's like the same thing as an iPhone app, just a few more steps. It's more vocal instead of physical touching. All right. So in order to complete this project, I had to do a lot of research. I was really interested in this kind of AI kind of technology, but I didn't know where to start. So starting by researching, I found a really good solution, which was using Azure Functions. Azure Functions is a Microsoft-run platform. Basically, they give you like voice, they give you artificial intelligence services and like functions and everything. So I tried using that, and I created a really complicated kind of like, what is this kind of structure? It was a really fun time because I was able to build everything from scratch. But in the end, I wasn't able to complete it because I ran out of Azure subscription credits. And yeah, unfortunately, it didn't work. It did take up a lot of time, but I learned a really valuable lesson, which was communication. And as a co-op student, you don't get many as a student, you don't get many chances to realize this. If I had told Jerson about my Azure Function solution at the very beginning, he would have said, nah, this doesn't work. You'll run out of Azure subscription credits. You'll need to find another solution. So if I had told him before, I would have saved myself 2 months of work. But it was still a great lesson because I got to learn all the hard inner parts of the project. So I get to learn how data is sent from Alexa and Google to my project, how I get to send it back to Alexa and Google how I do
Sorry.
all the processes. I'll turn that off right now. So yeah, it has all of that kind of steps, and I learned that, and that really helped me for my future project, for my next solution, which is Jovo. So Jovo is an open source framework, and basically it does all of the back-end kind of connection issues with the products. It does all that for me, and really I just have to deal with the variables that they give me. So for example, well, I'll show you the project that I've been working on now, just once it loads, which I don't know if it will. Okay, so basically what Jovo does, it takes care of the connection between Google and Alexa to the actual project. That way I don't have to deal with the connection issues, extracting data from the actual packages. I don't have to deal with any of the, if there's no Wi-Fi, what do I do? That stuff is all done. All I have to do is take that Jovo and take that Jovo data and put it into my project. So yeah, it really simplifies a lot of stuff, and this actually helped me finish the project within a month. It was really amazing. Thank goodness Jerson found that for me. Right, so this is my project. Hey Google, open York region.
All right, let's get the test version of York region.
Hello, Jerson shaved his beard. I miss his beard, sad face.
Where do you throw out computers?
Computer is electronic waste. It can be taken to a York Region waste facility or community drop-off location for proper recycling and disposal. Some working items may also be accepted by reuse donation centers.
So if you don't know, that is directly from the Bindicator website, or a test version of the Bindicator website. So it takes all the information from the website and spits it out vocally. Same thing with Alexa, but okay. Open York region.
I don't know that one.
Okay. Hey Alexa, open York region.
Hello. Gerson shaved his beard. I miss his beard. Sad face.
Where do I throw out carpets?
Sorry, I can't find that.
See, sometimes when I say a word, like the item that I'm talking about, it won't register. There's like issues with the if it's singular or if it's plural or the actual type of word, or if I'm just not saying it correctly. So there are some issues, but the general idea is there. All right. So when I started out with this, with Jovo, I needed some prototype. I couldn't just go straight into the Bindicator. To get to that step, I had to do the service intents. So there was a PDF file that tells you all the services that are local or regional, and the services that are available in like different cities and stuff. So basically, I hard-coded these into the actual project just to see if I can, get a connection, see if it works. And so what I end up having is this massive, really disgusting kind of code. Yeah, this is a really disgusting kind of piece of code that I made. But the point isn't that it looks nice or it looks bad. It's the fact that I can actually get something to work. So for example, I can ask, hey Google, ask York region who handles housing services.
All right, here's the test version of York region.
That's a regional service.
Thank you. So yeah, tells me that's a regional service. It's a really simple kind of intent. It's like a really simple function, but it works for me because I can test, see if the connection actually works. Now, based off these, I don't think I've talked about intents. So intents are these kind of functions inside of the app. When you have, for example, the health app on your iPhone, there's like different sections for activities. It's like activities or like how many steps you've walked, that kind of stuff. Each of those functions, you can think of like each intent as one of those functions. It's a different kind of method, different kind of thing that it does for you. So each of these intents is something different. In this case, what area for service, that intent is what tells you if the service is a local service or a regional service. The what services intent tells you all the local or all the regional services of York region. I won't say that because it's a really long sentence and it takes up way too much time. And the who to call intent, it just simply tells you what number to call for services in which area. So for example, if you ask Alexa, ask York region, Who do I call?
Hello. Gerson shaved his beard. I miss his beard. Sad face.
What do I call for services in Aurora?
Call 905-727-1375.
Right. So it does all this pretty simply. It's simple to actually make this. Only a few lines of code, except for that big box of code. Right. So this is just a test, and the reason why this was so important for me is because I could finally take what I've learned from that intent, build the Bindicator intent based off that. Okay, so the Bindicator intent is the really big part of this. It's the meaty part of this project. So, for those of you who don't know, Bindicator is it's a service on the York Region website that tells you where to throw out your garbage. For example, if you ask, if you say, where do you want to throw out fruits? You type in fruits, it'll tell you the instructions, where to throw it out, whether you throw it out in a green bin, or if you throw it out in some York Region waste facility, maybe a reuse donation center. It's a lot of different kind of variables that I have to deal with. And so basically what I'm taking all that content on the website, and it's indicating which bin to put it in. I thought that was kind of funny. Okay. Okay. So like I said, it's just you ask it where to throw out computers, it'll tell you throw it out here. If you want to, and then extra instructions and whatever. That's the goal. And basically, right now, when I first tested it, I just had it say throw computers anywhere. So that's not true, but I was using that just to see if this works. That first step, and then it did work. So then I move on to my second step. But before that. So what happens, I realize, is that when you say, where can I throw computers, it realizes that computer is a variable, that whatever that item is, it changes. So it takes that item and it sends it to my program, sends it to the Bindicator intent. That way I can actually use it for whatever I want to do. That was a really important step because otherwise, how do I know what the user wants to throw out, right? So yeah. My second step was to actually get the data from the York Region website and bring it into my program. I did that successfully, kind of, because now when you ask it, it says this also very disgusting block of code, block of words. It doesn't look elegant, and I was completely fine with that. I was super happy because for the first time in my life, I was able to really take data from somewhere else and an online source and use it in my own code. In my free time, I just program all. Oh my goodness, it's weird to hear myself talk. See, I learned a lot from this because I get to learn, to actually get data from your source, you need to have a URL, you need to have credentials, you need to tell what kind of request it is. It's a lot of different variables, and because of this, I was able to finally learn this, and oh my goodness, it was such horrible programming that I did, but I managed to actually be able to do it. Okay, so some of the stuff that I learned. One, JSON packages. JSON packages are like big boxes of data. If you imagine the biggest box in the world, and you have data inside of that. So for example, if I ask Jerson, if I'm requesting something from Jerson, like a computer, he'll give me a box with a lot of data inside of it. And inside of this box, because coders like to be organized, we have more boxes. And guess what? Inside of those boxes, we have even more boxes. Wow. Okay. Well, the reason why we have this is just to organize the code, the data. And what my code does, it takes that box, it brings it to my code and says, this is now yours. You can borrow this. This is something that I learned and I think is really valuable for my future experiences, for my future skills as well. Second thing I learned was when you want to request for some data, you have to do this kind of weird search. You get kind of think of like a database, the source. They have two ways of searching for items. One is by searching for title, and another is by searching for the keyword. So when you search for a title, the item name has to have a capital first letter, and then all the following words are lowercase. For keyword, everything is lowercase. And the difference between these two is if you want to search for an item, you can only search for a title or only search for a keyword. You can't search for both. So for example, if I were to search for like oranges, as a title, it wouldn't show up as fruit. It would say there is no item like this. But if I were to search for fruits in a keyword, it also wouldn't have an entry for that. So what I had to do was search for a title. So if the item was oranges, I would search for oranges as the title, and then I would search for the oranges as a keyword, and then I'd have to go for the singular version and the plural version. So there's 4 different searches I have to do just to get one entry. It was a slightly complicated process in the actual code, but it ends up working, and it's like another one of those things that as a coder I have to realize. All right, and the thing that I hate the most is debugging in this project. Yeah, all the coders. So I'm actually extremely grateful for the debugging softwares that like NetBeans gives you or Visual Studio gives you. That's such an amazing debugging program. I have so much respect for it now because when I'm debugging this, there is no debugging software. You have to print all the variables like line by line, and oh my goodness, I had so many. Half of my code was just console.print line. Okay, sorry, bit of a rant. Basically, what I had to do is I had to like put several print line statements to print what the values of each variables were at each point. For example, if this is the kind of the general outline of the code, and let's say there was an issue right there, I would have to put print line statements everywhere in that area just to find out which variable is wrong, which is the one that I'm not expecting. And then from there, I have to go back into the methods, go deeper in, and then find out what that problem is. It was a lot of steps, and each time I had a bug, which was like too many to count, I had to do this step multiple times. So from this, what happens is if there was a problem with at that arrow, for example, the second Bindicator column, that would probably give you like a null response. You wouldn't get anything. And then the format would just be, like formatting is just like another method. The response would just be nothing. It'll say nothing. That's really annoying. Yeah. So that was my debugging kind of rant issue there. The last step that I had was the formatting. So if you saw in the last slide, there was a format kind of box, and that was the third kind of step that I had to do for this. The reason why formatting was such a big issue was because it's hard for it's hard for me to build an algorithm that can make the sentences sound natural. Like you can't just say, throw computer out here. It's too robotic, right? You need some kind of flow. And so what I have is there are 3 different steps that I took to make this happen. So first, I would say you can drop item off at this place. These are the 3 locations that are special. Usually, when you think of when you're asking where to throw stuff out, it would either be a blue bin, green bin, or garbage, right? In this case, there are actually 3 more locations. So if you want to throw out bigger items like computers or ammunition or batteries, all that stuff would have to be thrown out at a special place like these. Second of all, if they had some sort of bin, I would say if you could throw out the item in some sort of bin, you would say place this item in the green bin, blue bin, garbage. And then finally, there are extra instructions that you have to follow. For example, if you just search computers, there would be stuff like there's only a limit of 2 TVs per and 6 electronic items per visit on the York region depots. This kind of stuff is stuff that I can't program myself, and I can't find out. I can't personally or programmatically determine that, so I just place that instructions inside of the response. Now, there is an issue with this. In the instructions, 99% of them are extremely, they say everything. So if I were to say, for example, in this case, if I were to say you can drop item off at York Region Waste Facility, in the instructions on the first line, it says that as well. And you don't want that kind of repetition, so I have to go through each sentence to find out which line has which item, which line is already repeated, and then take that out. There were also a bunch of other steps, but I won't get into the nitty-gritty details because I don't want to talk about them, and there were too many bugs with that. All right. So now, with the actual Bindicator, what happens is you can say, hey, Alexa. Okay, well, we'll let that load real quick. In the meantime, while it loads, I'll show you what the Amazon and Google kind of developer console look like. So this is where I do half of the programming, you could say. So here is kind of, this is where you tell Alexa, where you have Alexa saying, it's where you build the intents. Right. So this is where you would say, like if you want to say where do you throw out computers, it will register that this, when they throw that out, it means the user wants to run the Bindicator intent. Same thing with Google. They have the same thing. I have to just copy and paste this all over. If you want to say where do you throw out computers, it'll realize that the user wants to use the Bindicator intent. So that kind of stuff. Now, if you say, hey Alexa, ask York region, where do computers go? Interesting.
Computer is electronic waste. It can be taken to a York Region waste facility or community drop-off location for proper recycling and disposal. Some working items may also be accepted by reuse donation centers.
Oh man, well, when Jerson heard this, he was like ecstatic. He was like hyper. He's like, oh my goodness, it works! Finally, this high school student can do something. All right. So yeah, this is what happened, and this is the final product. I was really happy that I was able to learn this entire process. I'll show you that debugging kind of process I was talking to you about, that nightmare. I had to go through this. So this is where all of the variables, and the console is what you can think of. This is where all the variables and the values are printed. And yeah, it's a little small. I can't zoom in, but basically you can see like down here you have all of the requests. You have all of the variables. At the bottom, the very, very bottom is the the JSON package, like the box of data I send to Alexa or Google to repeat. At the top, you get some things like, this is the item, this is the requested item, it's computer. And then you have a bunch of other stuff. So this is what I had to go through in order to successfully create this project. And thank goodness I have this, otherwise debugging would be even worse. All right. And that's my project. So thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, I'm here. And yeah, awesome. Okay.
Thank you, Richard. It was awesome. Appreciate the reference to myself. Any questions?
I just have one. I'm not a technical person.
Okay.
So what you did you basically create Google Alexa within Google Alexa? Because I noticed you're always saying ask your region. So it sounds like you're saying, hey Siri, you know, but you're saying it to the devices, but ask your region. So did you set up sort of like a Siri, not Siri, a Google and Alexa within those?
So it's actually like an iPhone app. You have to download something, right? And in order to actually use this app for like other users, you have to download the Alexa, to download the York Region skill. And then when you, like a phone, you have to open it so that open York Region, that's like that action of opening, like tapping.
I don't have an opinion on that.
Good sense of humor, right?
So yeah, saying that command to open the skill is like opening the app.
Yeah.
So that's what it is basically.
That's interesting. Good.
Yeah.
So you took the information off Bindicator into your code.
Yes.
So if there's a change on the website, like say they add more items or more drop-off depots, do you have to then revise your code, or does it kind of?
Yeah, so my code actually doesn't, we don't need to update it. As long as you update the source, like the information on the Bindicator, my code will just take whatever's on there.
Okay.
So yeah.
It is done through an API. So we have an API in York.ca. It calls the API and sends the parameter, the item name. And then the portal will take that, do the search of the content, and send it back the details. So it's all dynamic. In the future, if there's a new item, that new item will be available.
Cool.
Okay.
Any other questions?
It's amazing.
Okay, so thank you everyone for attending. Another spirit for Richard for the great work. Also, I want to ask my team to come over here for a gift and a thank you for all the time you worked with us. In the name of IT Services, Solution Delivery Group, and Digital Experience Team, thank you everyone and have a great day.
Thank you.